Hello traders, this is Alex with the COTlive.com website. We're going to take a look at how I put things together. I get a lot of questions on how I actually trade with the Gann stuff. I mean, the master chart, the squaring the range calculator, a lot of that stuff that Gann used to put out wasn't a trading program, right? It was a platform. It was a tool, right, to maybe know when to get a little more aggressive, when to be less aggressive, when to stay out of a market of choice, right? So um, that's kind of, Gann was a 2-day trendline indicator, and that's how he traded the market, and that's kind of how I base my stuff. I mean, that's, all the other stuff, trend lines, planetary stuff was just a guide. But his actual true trading platform was a 2-day trendline indicator. And again, you can learn some of that stuff in the lessons that I put out there. And you can scan that if you're interested. And we're going to go over this right here, the planetary guide times. It's actually on a spreadsheet format, pretty simple, but yet it's effective, and that's how I look at things. I put together a few samples here, 10 or so, a few stocks, few commodities, and we're going to go over the first one here with little speed. I don't want to take up too much of your time on this video, but this is Apple, and this is the solar eclipse, right? October 25th, and I marked the close here on this chart right here. That's the solar eclipse close. Again, the program allows you to divide the range into whatever you want. You want to keep it mathematical, right? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 16. Now you can also use 10, 100, 1,000. So you can divide it by whatever. This is the actual square of 9, right? From the master chart. Again, I put together kind of a little bit of everything onto my programs and how I actually trade. Like, this is the master chart. I know exactly squares and nines, revolutions. I know that in the back of my head, so I don't need to look at the master chart all the time because I have it plotted here. And then I use to divide the year out equally, but purely, again, these are all the moon periods: quarter moon, 3/4 moon, eclipses, full moon, new moon. I have everything plotted here. Now it basically divides the year out into 25, or between the half a year into 25 segments, right? So it's exact. There's ephemeris out there that tell you exactly, 10 years from now when the next quarter moon or full moon is, right? So in what time? So they have it down to a science. I also mark all the planets here, both geo and heliocentric. Again, helo is the sun based in the middle, where geocentric is the earth in the middle. And that's these marked in blue are the geocentric. Those move much slower and make more sense to me. You look up at the sky, Pluto's right, or Saturn or something's right where it's at every time in the sky. It doesn't move, 67,000 miles per hour or 1.608 million miles in a day. I mean, you couldn't see it, right? So the geocentric makes more sense, but you don't have as many time alignments. So the heliocentrics is nice in a sense that it gives you a lot more time frames, and a lot of people trade these, hedge funds, whatever. I mean, they look at this stuff. And you can see one of the bigger alignments that'll be happening is April 13th that I have on this chart. I mean, I don't go way out in the future, but it does show. And I got it all the way out to 2023, all the planets, everything's sitting there. So if you're wanting to purchase this, this is a good tool. And that's all it is another tool in your toolbox, but it allows you to understand the trend. All right, I went through and deleted all these so I could bring them back in. This is the first range, first quarter moon after the solar eclipse, and that's this range right here, right? So we're diving down, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly and then maybe go through it. Again, we're going through each quarter moon on this chart right here. there was your holiday trade, November 23rd. Or December 23rd, excuse me, Christmas trade, holiday trade. You can see that we're diving down. And you can see that the trend changed. Now, again, I use X's, O's. You can put whatever you want, right? But it just gives me something to look at. Now, again, I don't usually change the trend unless we get 2 boxes, right? It would have to be up here. What I'm trying to do by plotting this is to avoid the noise, right? A lot of times you get emotional, which you never should do, but it's hard not to. So by plotting longer term, that's why a lot of people use monthlies and quarterlies, right? It takes all the noise out. Now, I like using these because they're rhythmic, they're exact. If you trade hourly charts, right, or intraday charts, the time frames are all right there, right? So you can go back and look and see what the market did on this quarter moon. Of course, all the planetary stuff that I have also have time frames. And they're all listed here out into 2023. Sorry, I got sidetracked. And again, I'm fast forwarding it in a sense to not take up as much time. This is February 13th. This is, again, today is February 21st on a Tuesday. And now we had a holiday trade in here for President's Day. And so this was the last trade. And you can see that we kind of broke a coil pattern, a chip chop coil pattern. And once we broke out of that, now again, I use 90 degrees like Gann used to do, right? So if this is a high, I know 90 degrees after is this sequence right here. Now this one came in faster. And of course, to me, this is a sideways trade, right? We're back to the solar eclipse. Now that's resistance. So if we start knocking, then this will be the area right here, since there'll be 2 boxes down, where I would be selling it if I was a bear, or if I was long down here, I would get out or buy puts, right, or something like that. But this allows you to trade the trend. We're in this void zone. Last time we had a void zone, it traded sideways, and then once we got into some resistance in the planets, then it got hammered. So again, that's kind of where we're at right here in the same area of price of the solar. So that's kind of where that's at. Well, let's go to a futures. Let's go to gold. Everybody likes gold. I'm going to put you on pause here where I set this up for you to look at. Okay, I set up the gold chart here. This is the April gold. This green line here is the solar eclipse, and I marked it different colors. Again, this is 90 degrees, right, on the wheel, or on the 360 degree circle, or 91 calendar days, right? I mean, now I use 66 market days on my stuff that I trade. Again, that's a little different, but close. This is the April gold chart that we're going to be looking at, again, on the Planetary deal. And you can see, obviously, on the chart that there's definitely a bottom, so it's a little deceptive. Then this is, again, marking the solar eclipse close. Now, this one, I did not divide it. I actually am using the squares, right? So 1681, the actual solar eclipse close was 1686.60, right? So it was in between, so I used the lower number, just how I set it up. That's also 41 squared, right? So again, has some mathematical gist to it. And then, we go to the quarter moon, which is November 1st, and then we'll go to the lunar eclipse, the full moon on November 8th, so on and so forth. So here we go. And you can see the solar eclipse close kind of held the level. Again, it's a new date for the market, right? It's something different than what was going on prior to. And to me, the solar eclipse and all those planetary alignments, even, right, are points in time for reference of time. So this is referencing time. We know when the next one is. We know, all that stuff in the future. So we know all that in the future. Now, again, I'm always looking for the solar eclipse in 90 degrees. So this lightly yellowed one here on January 21st is the halfway point, right? Or 90 degrees between the two solar eclipses, the one there and the one coming up on April 20th. So this is halfway in between. So this is, again, 90 degrees. So I'm looking for this to be my high if this is a low. And as you can see, as we progress through this chart here, it does filter out a lot of the noise, right? All these little jib jabs that might have knocked you out. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you're going to make any more money or not, but to me, you want to avoid the appearance of a market. Now, this was, there was my halfway point, and I would have been looking to tighten up stops, right? Or buy puts. We had 3 closes at the same price level. So definitely tighten up stops for sure. You don't want to just get out because, right? You want to follow some rule. And to me, or again, you buy puts or buy 2, right? Against 100, or you're long 1 futures and you buy 2 puts to maybe go short, right? And again, you don't have to go way out, because if it don't break, more than likely, you can go out just maybe 20 days instead of going out 3 months, right? You don't have to pay for a lot of time. Anyway, it closed like crap. First warning sign, obviously breaking the trend line. If you draw trend lines here, you can draw trend lines here. We're in the zone. And again, the one of the lows right here was on the lunar eclipse, right? So 90 degrees, that's 2 moons off the solar, right? So 90 degrees, it would have been right here, and which was the high. So again, to me, that makes sense. And I'm definitely out or short or both, probably. And now we're getting closer to our current time frame. Today is the February 21st. And that's current right there. So I marked something in red. It hit exactly on the high, 1881.60. So that was February. Let's see. February 13th. Yeah, the high on February 14th was 1881.60. Well, that's the exact square. I always note those on there when it hits it exact or closes on it exact. I'll highlight them on the chart. Now, of course, you can put all your master chart data on this, or copy and make another chart, right? And update 2 of them. But you can add stuff to this chart. You don't have to keep it in this format. This is just again, I like to keep the planetary alignments, right? We're into this void. What did it do in this void? It did nothing. It held sideways and then accelerated. So I'm pretty interested. Now, again, if you're a long-term bull on gold and you're never a bear, which is usually how it works, you're looking for opportunities to buy. Well, we didn't have anything on the way up. This is your first opportunity. And again, it might be halfway. Let me see. That's 28 boxes of square 9. 14 would be halfway. That's 14 right here. So this is the halfway point, 50%, right, of this range in the square 9. So that's nice. It gives you a level, and it closed off the lows. So that's what you want to see. Let me see. The markets are open. It's about 8:51. Gold is down a little bit, so no big flurry. Hang on, that's my wife texting me. Um, so that's, that's the gold. I mean, I'm going to flip through some of these charts I'd already prepared for you. I don't want to have to waste your time and go through them all. But that's the format. It's simple. It doesn't take that much time unless you're trading 200 markets. It doesn't take that much time to update these. They give you a feel. Here's Bank of America. Let me squish this chart down. Here's Bank of America, and you can see it really hasn't done anything. Here's the solar eclipse close. We're back on the solar eclipse close. I'm so sorry. Here's Caterpillar. You can see that this, the solar eclipse was some type of low. Market broke up, market broke trend, but it hasn't really got negative yet. I don't know what it's at today. But again, I draw these trend lines in here too, right, to give you a Gann squared of the range. And also from the eclipse, right? So this is a 1 by 1 on the square 9, 1 by 1 down from the square solar eclipse close. And then I draw another 1-to-1 from the high. So again, it gives you a reference point. Here's John Deere. I've kept it fairly small. Again, I think if I redid this chart, I would expand it a little more. Again, I'm not using the divisions, which would speed it up, and I think I would probably do that. And again, what I normally do is tint. Wrong thing. Tint these ones I don't use, right? Keep them so I don't mix it up. Anyway, there's Apple. You can see that it's on an uptrend. It closed good Friday, again with a 3-day holiday. Interesting to see how that opens today. You got Wayfair, which I guess that's the online deal I don't know much about, but it's definitely was a big chop. We had a big period. And just by notation, there's the solar, this is the lunar. The actual low was made after the, it would have been the 3/4 moon, I guess. And so I would be expecting a 3/4 moon again, which would be right here. So it basically missed it by one period, and then the trend broke. So, but this was, again, that's why you have the closes listed on here. The actual lowest close was on the lunar eclipse. And again, this was the lunar eclipse sequence, the 90 degrees, right, on the wheel. So again, it basically did its projection. Here's IBM. And you can see that it's in the range. Went back to the solar eclipse again, which is support. Basically, Gann used to call it time and price, right? Or if it hits these trend lines on the actual time, it's time and price as well. Again, there's the gold, there's the crude. Again, a big chop here, but the trend is down coming into the day. Over the 3-day holiday, it's up a little bit today, but we really need to clear out this area here today or this week. 81 something, it's $4 or $5 away. It's got a little to travel, and by rights you really need to take out this pivot, and then this whole thing becomes a low, right? Here's the soybeans, a very slow, choppy, methodical uptrend. Here's your square of the range. Beans had a little pop on the overnight, but no follow through. There again, it really, you got, if you make a new high, you got to assume this was a buying opportunity, and your only break that I had listed on here. So from the solar. Now again, I started all this projecting from the solar eclipse based on the soybeans, so I'm pretty knowledgeable on that a market. I mean, I can go back in time and the solar eclipse. Again, that's that. Again, that's that. On the GAN lessons, that's the lesson 10, showing how to project a bull market based on the solar eclipse. It's extremely accurate. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't want to sit there and make you promises, right? But it's one of those that I can be pretty precise. Now, I can also say with some certainty, again, I can't guarantee, but you will make money on, that's, if you trade logically, right? I mean, if you get a low and you wait for 90 degrees before you get too bearish, right? You don't just go bearish just because, but you're looking for signs. Again, there's so many markets to trade. You don't have to isolate yourself. This is the corn market, and this is one big base. We're below the solar eclipse, which is a little negative, but it sure looks like it's setting up for some type of larger bottom down, for the future. Here's the Euro FX. Again, that's basically opposite of the dollar. I squished it down so you can see it. That was that was a pretty big move. Here's the solar eclipse close, and you can see that we had a pretty ginormous move based on history. Interesting, right? Here's the lunar eclipse. It had a big pivot reversal, and you're looking again. That means the 90 degrees over would be the full moon in here, which this would be the 90 degrees over, and it was a big reversal as well, outside reversal there actually. So again, this one might have spooked you, right, when it broke trend, but you knew the time wasn't up yet. So that's why time is pretty important. You can kind of look and reference everything, right? But the trend is definitely down, and it'll take some bit. To me, if you're a bull on the Euro FX, you might want to wait for a bit to again, if you're long the euro, you're short the dollar, right? So basically, you're short the dollar. I mean, if it's a spread against the dollar. So yeah, I mean, these are all the data points, and this is kind of the cheat sheets that I had in there. But it's a simple format, but it's very effective to understanding trend change and staying with the direction of the trend. Now, if you're really a fast trader, like day trader maybe even, this is not right for you. But if you're going to be a day trader, right, you want to stay in the direction of the down trend, right? If it's a downtrend or if it's an uptrend, you want to buy the dips until proven otherwise. Here, you want to sell the dips, right, until proven otherwise. Well, it didn't get proven until right here. So once this area got violated, now you start buying the dips. So that's, again, I'm not a day trader, but if you were, that's how I would look at it. Don't be one-sided. You knew the solar eclipse was up here, and you might want to quit buying the dips or be a little closer on your stops, or using some options against your trades and that kind of thing. Again, here, if you're interested in how I plot these, and you can get a copy of this Excel spreadsheet, and also you can create your own, right? This blank save here, I always use that. And then I move, create a copy, put it in there, and you can plot, whatever. PXD, Pioneer, if you're into energy, right? PXD. And then you change it up here, PXD, so you know what it is. And let's pull up the chart, PXD. Oh, wrong button, sorry. PXD. Oh, come on. Allow me to change the dang thing. Anyway, so that's kind of how you find the solar eclipse close, you mark it on here, and you start. Pretty simple, and you keep this for a long period of time. Now, again, the stocks are much easier than commodities, right? Because you don't have all the gaps from the rollover and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, the futures tend to have a lot of gaps, spreading, right, where the stocks are, and the FX too, are just constant. So, and Bitcoin and cryptos, I mean, you can put whatever you want in here, right? Now, again, if you need to expand the squares, if you're into some crypto that's trading way the hell out there, again, you can change the speed. Um, Again, one is the first square, right? So you can put 100 in there, and it changes it so dramatically you can't see it. But I mean, it multiply. You know, it starts at 100 instead of 1 or 10. I mean, it again. So and again, these are the squares. So again, it's multiplying the square times this number. So anyway, I won't keep you. I'm dragging on here. I thank you. This is a quick little video and on the planetary alignments. Again, all this data is on this spreadsheet. You can plug in anything you want. Simple, as long as you can gather the open, high, low, close. And again, you don't want a weekly, right? Because a weekly won't work. You got to have daily open, high, low closes. You can use this and plot these accordingly. Again, these will all be here, all the way out into the future. So pretty simple stuff, but it is pretty powerful. Keeps you in the direction of the trend. All right, I'm rambling. Thanks. Have a great trading week, and the rest of the year too, for that fact.